Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Premier League Preview Show. Today, Chris and I are going to be discussing and predicting the upcoming Premier League game week with possible injuries and predictions.
Yeah, hi guys, it's Chris here. So, welcome to the next podcast. We're going to talk a lot of detail around the Premier League clubs, the injury list. Obviously, there's some FA Cup games going on at this weekend. However, we're just going to focus mainly on the Premier League games. There might be a few different injuries happening from those games, so let's see. But Fred's going to fire us away with the first game, and we'll talk a little bit of detail. And I think it's going to be an interesting game, Aston Villa versus Newcastle, because Steve Bruce's job's on the line, so that always makes it very interesting. So Fred.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting game. Well, actually, I think it's going to be a bit tight because, as you said, Steve Bruce, I'm not too sure he's a quality manager. I think he's a mid-table manager. I think in a game like this where his job is on the line, I think he's gonna sit back against a side like Aston Villa, who've proved that they have a lot of quality this season. But I'm gonna go with a tight 2-0 win to Villa.
Nice. For me, he's a championship manager, Fred. So I don't know what. I know that's a little bit harsh, but I think he took his dream job at Newcastle, and I respect that. That's absolutely fine. But I don't think he's the right man for Newcastle, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think they'll end up sacking him this season. So, I think Villa will probably win this game, 1-0 by the least. But they've got more quality, as you've mentioned before in the past. So, and they're looking pretty strong this year, aren't they? So, Newcastle, not a chance for me. But they've got St. Maximin out, who's a doubtful, and he's a key player for them. And since he's been out, they've been shocking. So I'm not sure that they're going to do anything this year, to be honest. They'll be lucky to not get pulled into the relegation fight at some point. But that's my opinion with them. Aston Villa have only really got John McGinn out and Trezeguet. And John McGinn's a good player, but they've got enough quality with Barkley and Grealish around the player. So I think Aston Villa, easy win for them. And Newcastle, the Steve Bruce is going to be lucky to survive a few more games if he continues the way he does. And it'll be interesting to see who they try and bring in, because I know they talked about trying to get Benitez back. Would be interesting because he's a good manager. They went from Benitez to Steve Bruce, which I know that's harsh, but for me, it's a massive difference in managers. And to manage the Premier League, and especially a club like Newcastle, you do need to have a little bit of strength. And I just don't think Steve Bruce has enough quality to progress Newcastle forward from what they need, and that's my honest opinion with Newcastle. So if Newcastle want to be wise, I think they need to go ahead and get rid of Steve Bruce as soon as possible, if I'm honest. I know that's harsh, but that's my opinion on that one.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. Well, I think that was a bit too harsh when you said he was a championship manager, but I think he's a mid-table to relegation zone manager.
Yeah,
but you're right. I think Newcastle fans have a lot of pride, and
of course they do.
they
Got a lot of
expect
history.
quite a lot. Yeah, they expect quite a lot from their team, and I just don't think he's the right fit for them.
No.
But as you said, I think Villa are gonna just edge it out because they have a lot of quality.
Well, they do.
But going on to the next game, which will be on Tuesday, midweek game week. Crystal Palace versus West Ham.
Well, yeah, that's good because West Ham are performing well at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, it's so tough for me to predict because, as you said, West Ham are performing quite well the past few games with Mikel Antonio back. But Palace just Palace just have that quality. Wilfred Zaha.
He's doubtful, by the way, for the game. So,
Well, they've got the kid they got from QPR.
Yeah, he's good, isn't he?
Eze. He's a good player.
He looks like a Dortmund time signing to me.
Yeah.
I mean that they won't, but that's just the way I see him. He won't be at Palace for long, for sure. David Moyes is doing a cracking job at West Ham, though. And
he is.
People are probably quite surprised by that. But before he went to Manchester United, where he was there for a little amount of time, he was fantastic at Everton. So, he seems to be getting that back, and it's taken him a while to do that. but it does happen. But I think West Ham are going to edge it. And the reason why I say that, because I'm looking at the injury list, and Crystal Palace have got about 5 injuries out. So they've got Zaha, Saku's out, Schloop's still out, Hennessy's still out. Coyote might be out as well, so that's a personal thing matter for him. But Zaha's got a doubtful knee injury, so I think if with Zaha out, Palace are going to struggle, to be honest, and you can see that. So I think West Ham are going to edge it 2-1 for me for West Ham, because West Ham at late have been picking up some form, and they've got some good players in there as well, haven't they? So let's see. It might end in a draw, but I'm going with West Ham. I'm putting my neck out to say West Ham are picking up some form.
Yeah,
What do
I
you
mean,
think?
with West Ham, I've watched West Ham's past 2 games, I think, yeah. And they just look a different side when they have Mikel
Good unit.
Antonio up front.
Yeah,
Because
he's
when I
strong,
watched
isn't
them
he?
with Sebastian Haller, it was almost like, West Ham David Moyes doesn't really play an expansive type of football. He
He likes it
normally
tight
just,
in the middle of the park.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Every time the ball gets to Sebastian Haller, he can't keep hold of it. But when they play with Antonio, he can keep hold of the ball. And players like Jared Bowen and Pablo Fornals get on the ball and they do what they're good at.
They've
I
got some
think
good
West
players. They've
Ham,
got that winger as well,
yeah,
haven't they? That they got from
and Ben Rama.
Brentford. Yeah, exactly. Ben Rama. He hasn't performed where we thought he would this season, but he's starting to pick up some form, and he had a good game last week. So, for me, West Ham just look like they're getting some form, and
Yeah,
I know you're talking about Aston Villa being a surprise package, but for me, West Ham could do the same. So because of the season's so tight, we don't even know where anyone's going to end up at this point in time.
yeah,
And that's the crazy thing, and everyone likes it because the last 2 seasons we don't know. And look I don't mean to say it, but look where Liverpool are at the moment. So
yeah,
there's a lot of differences in the club, so it's going to be interesting.
yeah. I'm gonna go with I'm not even sure, to be honest. I'm gonna go
You're
with
probably looking at a draw.
you know what? I'm gonna go with 2-1 West Ham win. I'm gonna go with you because the last 2 games, when you've watched West
Yeah,
Ham, most of their goals
exactly.
come in the last 15 minutes of the game with players like Suchek, and Suchek is a good
He's
player,
good.
by the way. Yeah, he's
He'd
a
be a good
proper
signing for one of the top 6 clubs.
yeah, he's a proper David Moyes midfielder. That kind of tall player. He's good in the air, etc.
Fellaini.
Yeah, like Fellaini. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think he's got a bit more quality than Fellaini. That's my point.
yeah,
But not disrespecting Fellaini, he was a fantastic player with his long hair and the time he
yeah,
could head the ball. So he was an interesting character, I have to say. But
yeah,
yeah, he's a good player, that Souček, for sure.
yeah.
Very good
So
player. I like him.
moving on to the next game, Newcastle versus Leeds. Well, this is interesting because Newcastle are playing twice in a matter of about 4 days. So that could be a factor in the Leeds game. And thinking of the Leeds are a very energetic side. They're very energetic. So if
Yeah.
after the Villa game, Newcastle are a bit drained out, I think Leeds could have a field day. And in the last preview show, we previewed that Leeds were gonna
We did.
hammer Brighton,
We
and
did nothing, man.
it turned out the opposite. Brighton won that game.
I know that was so shocking as well, and
Yeah,
I think this is the problem with Leeds, is that all the commentators and the pundits love them because of the way they attack,
yeah,
but their defense is so bad
yeah,
that they concede, they leave themselves open. So, but I see them beat if Leeds beat Newcastle, Steve Bruce will get sacked. That's my opinion. But I reckon Leeds and Newcastle are going to draw that game. If I'm honest, I just think Leeds starting to come unstuck with some of their tactics. Like no one understood them to start with. Like they were attacking a lot of teams, but nobody understood them at the start.
yeah,
And I think that misconception, now everyone knows what they're like. I think clubs are going to find them out, and I can see Newcastle nicking a draw in that game. If I'm honest, Leeds will be okay this season. They won't get relegated or anything. There's no chance of that, which is great for them. But I just see Newcastle managing to get a draw out of that game, and that's my opinion on that one.
yeah. With Leeds, I think you do have a point. When they came into the league, well, they were amazing in the championship, but I think it took a bit of time for everyone to find them out.
Yeah.
And we've seen in the past, since the Manchester United game where they got absolutely battered 6-2, you've seen that a lot more sides have taken points from them and
Yeah, because
scored.
they've watched.
Yeah.
Exactly. And Manchester United has been the first team to open them up like that.
Yeah.
In a sense of it could have been 10-0,
Yeah.
if I was honest. But, the fact Leeds scored 2 goals is credit to them, really, at Old Trafford. But I just see Leeds falling off a little bit. And obviously, Leeds is a great manager, but I think Newcastle will end up getting a draw in that game. It'd just be a tight game, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not predicting a 5-0 for Leeds anymore because I was so wrong last time. And then against Brighton, which shocked me. But hey ho, it's Premier League, and results have been so weird this year that we don't even know what our predictions could be completely out of whack. So
yeah, I'm gonna go with the 3-1 Leeds win. I still have, although I do agree with you, I think getting closer to the end of the season they will fall off, but I just think with the Villa game that Newcastle have to play this weekend, I just think Leeds will come out on top in that game.
well, let's
I'll
see.
go.
It'll be an interesting one. But as I said, if Newcastle lose against Aston Villa and Leeds, Steve Bruce is going to get sacked for sure. So when the manager does that, they pull results out. As look what Arteta did. I know I'm saying it again, but look what Arteta did at Arsenal, and suddenly he's starting to perform. So when your job's on the line, and you've seen it with Ollie as well, results start to pick up. But I see it being a draw. But let's move on to the next game. But I think that'll be an interesting game, Newcastle versus Leeds, though, Fred.
Yeah. Moving on to the next game, Southampton versus Arsenal. Whenever I watch Southampton, I think it's going to be an interesting game. I really like the way they play. Yeah, and interestingly with Arsenal, they do have a bit of transfer news that they are close to reaching an agreement for Martin Odegaard. He used a few years back, he was one of the top prospects.
We'll see how that works out. We'll see how it works out with Martin Odegaard. I'm not convinced, as you know, by that signing, but it's one of the type of signings that Arteta would want for his system. So I understand the signing completely. I just think we need to give him a little bit of time. 6 months is not enough sometimes. So, and we've seen that with some other signings Arsenal done. But that we can talk about that more in detail when that transfer has been completed and look at that in context. But moving back to the game, Southampton are good at these types of games. So scrapping these types of games. So, Arsenal's form might end up finishing at Southampton because Southampton love a scrap, don't they? So I think Southampton are going to beat Arsenal, and that's my opinion. And I think it's going to be a lot of goals involved. I think it's going to be 3-2 to Southampton that game. And I'm sticking my neck out for that one. But I see Southampton beating Arsenal, and I know Arsenal on form, but this is, Arsenal's form have been against teams that are quite low, apart from the Chelsea team, but they're not performing well either. So I see Southampton being a bit of a task for Arsenal, and I think Southampton gonna win that game. And for me, Southampton are ahead of Arsenal at the moment, in my opinion, in terms of performances. So I'm gonna go with Southampton 3-2, Fred.
Yeah, well, that is close to my prediction. As you said, Southampton are one of the teams that I love to watch in the Premier League because they have a good man. They just play such an amazing form. They've
got no fear.
Every team. Yeah, exactly. They're that kind of team. And I do think Arsenal's winning run is going to end in this game. I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw. I think.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
It's just going to be tight. I think it's going to be tight.
Looking at the injury list, they've got Bertrand out for one game because it's disciplinary. Romeria's still out as injury, but they still got enough quality. I mean, Vestergaard's out till February, which is a massive miss for Southampton. So that's why I think there's going to be a few goals in the game. But I just see Southampton winning that game against Arsenal. But I don't see Arsenal winning it. And if Arsenal do win that game, then obviously they're on a bit of form and they're getting close to the top 6 again. So let's see, and it'll be an interesting game. I think that'll be the game in the week. To be honest, that's my opinion on that one.
Well, you can't discuss the game of the week in our amazing Discord server. We have a Discord server where you can have 24/7 chats with football fans from all over the world, exclusive transfer news from Chris himself, and, just having a good time. Maybe you're bored in the day and you just want to have a chat. You can go in our Discord and have a chat with many other football fans. So the link will be in the description. Remember also to like this video if you enjoy and subscribe.
And then the good thing about our Discord is when we have a lot of game discussions, that even, there's a lot of different fans in there, is that we're all nice to each other and we all discuss the games and interact. And I think that's important in as opposed to having just one fan base. So please do make sure that if you are listening to this and you are different types of fans, wherever you are around the world, just come in and come and talk to us, and we'll talk to you back in it. It's a good interaction, and Fred's been in there a lot, so he knows what we're trying to achieve as well. So it's a good place to come for that one.
Yeah. Well, moving on to the next game, West Brom versus Manchester City.
Do we even need to talk about it?
That's I'm gonna go with on the safer side, and I'm not gonna do what I did last week in terms of the Leeds versus Brighton game. Okay. I could easily go 7-0 to Manchester City, but
yeah,
I'm gonna go on a safer side, and I actually think with the way West Brom set up, I'm gonna go with a 0-0 draw.
Wow.
I just think that I've watched West Brom over the past few weeks, and I watched them yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday.
So you hoping more than it happening? Being a Manchester United fan.
Well, obviously, I want Manchester City to lose every game, but I think West Brom have the stability to keep the lights. And Kevin De Bruyne, who is their most creative player, is going to be out for the game.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I think it's going to be a tight 0-0 draw.
Yeah, De Bruyne is out. Kyle Walker's potentially out still. Aguero, he's not playing. Nathan Ake's out, and obviously Laporte, but they have Diaz and Stones. But for me, Man City are on form, and I don't see them losing many games, and they're still my favourite to win the Premier League, if I'm honest. So I think West Brom, okay, they're a good little squad, and they probably will stay up because Sam Allardyce is a relegation saviour master, as you know.
Yeah.
But I see Man City winning by at least 2 or 3 goals because of just the way their confidence is right now.
Yeah, well, it's going to go one of two ways. I just think West Brom have enough to keep them out, especially with Kevin De Bruyne not being involved. I just think West Brom can keep them out to a 0-0 draw. But moving on to another game I think is going to be quite boring. Burnley versus Aston Villa.
Oh God! But
I hate watching Burnley. Thank you, Sean Dyche. As a Manchester United fan, thank you, Sean Dyche.
I was so surprised by that yesterday.
Beating Liverpool. Yeah, it was crazy.
But that just shows you
Jurgen Klopp has been complaining about penalties.
That's brilliant.
About Manchester United's penalties all the time. And it's so crazy how he lost to a penalty.
Oh, that's brilliant though. That's karma, isn't it? But moving on from Liverpool itself, we'll talk about them at some point. But at the moment, with the games, Burnley and Villa is going to be boring. I see it being 0-0. Just the fact that Burnley just play so tight, and they're not. For me, I don't like Burnley, and I never have done in terms of the football. But Sean Dyche does a good job keeping his club up, and he has done for Burnley, and he's done a fantastic job with them. So I can't knock it. I just see that being a 0-0, and I think Villa might get quite frustrated in that game. And you saw it with Liverpool; they were getting frustrated by half time. So Burnley do that to clubs, and they nearly did it to Manchester United. So they've picked up a little bit of form. So I see that being a draw, or Burnley could just nick it again. So it'd be a boring game, Fred. I won't turn that on. It won't come on my TV, that's for sure. That game, I will not be looking at that game for sure. It's not one of the games that I will be looking at. But there are a couple of other ones that I'm certainly looking forward to.
Yeah, I agree with you. I never watch Burnley unless they're playing. Well, apart from yesterday and the Manchester United game, I don't watch Burnley because they just look like that 70s team, the 2 strikers up front, the long ball. But the thing with Sean Dyche is I think he deserves a massive amount of credit. Because I think, how long have Burnley been in the league now? It's been about 5 years or 6. I don't know. They've been in the
A
league for a
while.
couple of years now, and I think they need. Well, they have some new owners coming in. I think they need to back Sean Dyche, and I think they need to give him players so he can move to the next level.
He's a good
Because
manager, him.
they
I
can't
like him.
keep doing this. Yeah, they can't keep doing this because there's gonna come a season where you're gonna get injuries and you're not gonna be able to play that boring, that park the bus
Yeah,
football.
then they will struggle and potentially get in the relegation zone. Absolutely. Then that's like any club
Yeah,
that they need to spend at some point to be able to progress forward. And Burnley don't spend a lot of money. The only good thing for Burnley about Aston Villa is they don't have any injuries, so there'll be a full squad. And Villa are a fairly full squad, as you know. Only Trezeguet will be out for that game. So I just think it will be a draw, and I think you're right. The new owners, if they do come in, that they do need to start. They do need to back Burnley if they want to keep them in the league, because I think they're just on the kind of edge at the moment. Like in the next couple of seasons or so, they
yeah,
might be in the relegation battle, and I would be concerned if I was a Burnley fan at that point. And I know they're doing all right at the moment, and they'll stay up this season because the teams below them are terrible. So
yeah,
um, we'll see with that one. But yeah, you're absolutely right in terms of where they need to go if they want to progress with Sean Dyche. That they've had those seasons where they've had mid-table or they've been Europa and those sort of things, but they haven't. They're teetering on being close to the relegation zone. So I think for them now to move forward, they need that investment, and it's going to be tricky because of what's going on at the moment. But next summer they do need to start buying players, because I think they might struggle even further next season for sure.
yeah. Well, I'm gonna go Burnley versus Aston Villa. I'm gonna go for a 1-0 Burnley win because over the
Nice.
past few games, Aston Villa defensively, I mean, although I feel they were treated unfair against Manchester City,
And Dean Smith
Tyron
has
Mings
been
doesn't,
charged as well, hasn't he?
yeah, Tyron Mings doesn't look convincing at
No, I don't
all.
wait.
I've never rated him, to be honest, and I
He's
just
had a
think
few good
those
games when he
two,
scored a few headers, didn't he? But um,
yeah,
I
those
don't.
two strikers up front
Yeah,
for
I know what you mean.
Burnley, Chris Wood and Ashley Barnes. I just see them doing another late win. I just think they're gonna park the bus all game, and in the
They
90th
could. They
minute, they're gonna
The good
get the
thing
winner.
about Chris Wood and Ashley Barnes is that they've got some good movement. So I think Mings might struggle with that movement. So yeah, you're absolutely right in the sense of that. And just for me, I just think it's going to end 0-0. But it will be interesting for those two clubs. But I certainly won't even look at the result, to be
Yeah.
honest. It wouldn't
Well,
interest me at all.
yeah. Well, moving on to the next game, Chelsea versus Wolves. Well,
That'd be a good game.
interestingly about Chelsea, it almost looked certain that a couple of days ago Frank Lampard was going to be sacked. I mean, they lost to Leicester, who, by the way, we'll talk about Leicester later, but Leicester have been very good this season. Well, they actually went top of the league for a couple of days. But Chelsea versus Wolves, I think it's gonna come down to Fabio Silva again. We spoke about him in the last preview show, and he
Good
ended up
talent, him.
going. Yeah, he's an amazing. He's one of my favorite young players in
Very
the
good
Premier
talent.
League. But it's just like he
And if
struggled in the
you're
first few games.
Yeah, but if you like Football Manager, and most of the fans who are probably listening do, he was always a wonder kid in Football Manager and all the seasons he was. But he is actually a good player. So if he starts scoring a lot of goals, then Wolves might beat Chelsea.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's gonna come down to him. I'm still not convinced about Chelsea this season, but I think it's gonna be a tight
What's
game.
going on with them, Fred? What
I
is going
have
on with them?
what I think has happened is actually I've been talking about it in our Discord. I think he's Frank Lampard is a very good manager, but I just think the amount of players he's bought, he can't fit all of them into a team, and most of
Do you
them are
think
not
he's
performing. So
Do you think he's
what?
just got pieces of paper together and glued it, and then thought that that would be a good squad?
Yeah,
That's my opinion of it right now.
what's happened is he didn't need most of those players, but he's got them in, and he's under pressure. Although they are not performing, he's under pressure to pick
Oh,
them
massive,
because
massive
they
pressure.
paid a lot of money for those players. So I think he should just trust his instinct, go with players like Giroud and
He's out for he's a doubtful, by the way. So
Oh well,
they're going
then
to have Werner again, who doesn't really know where the goal is at the moment, does he? Let's
once
be
once you
honest.
mentioned Werner, I just thought Wolves are gonna win because he's been absolutely shocking.
I don't know what's
Like
going on with him. He was
I've never
absolutely
seen.
prolific
If I was
last
looking
season.
at all the strikers in the 20 clubs of the Premier League, I don't even think he'll be. I think he'll be last.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think
Well,
he'll be in the bottom three because
let's
Brighton have
see.
bad strikers,
Yeah.
but he's been shocking, and Kai Havertz has also been shocking. To be honest, I just
I don't know
think,
what's going on with them. I really don't. But I think that they've got to change something pretty quick. And if they lose against Wolves quite massively, then Lampard again. The only reason why he hasn't been sacked yet is because of his history at the club. That's all it is, Fred. Because
yeah,
you spent 240, what was it, 240 million on players? 200 million plus?
250,
Yeah,
251
something crazy
million.
like that. 251 million and you're not in the top four. And it just shows you that if you don't buy the right players, you're not going to get, and this happened to Manchester United for years, that they were
Yeah,
buying
yeah,
players and they thought, oh, we're going to win the league because we're buying players. It doesn't work
yeah,
like that, friend. And I keep telling people
yeah,
this, is that Chelsea can go and spend £400 million. Doesn't mean they're going to win the league. You've got to have a team, you've got to have a unit, you've got to have squad depth. They've not thought about it at all. And they
yeah,
bought Ziyech and they bought Havertz. For me, they're similar sort of players, you
yeah.
know. And then they bought
If
Werner they don't use Werner to the system. So,
yeah,
and
I
he's a
think
system player.
yeah, as you said, I've been saying he's a system player in the Discord literally every day, but I think they did not need to buy Kai Havertz.
No,
I
they didn't.
don't think. I think maybe Thiago Silva. I think also Hakim Ziyech to a certain extent. I think he would be a good signing for them. But all
Oh
the
yeah,
other players
Ziyech
they
is very
bought,
skillful, Fred, and
I
I
don't
think
think they
Havertz
needed
will come
Edouard
good.
Mendy.
Yeah.
Havertz doesn't have it. Kai Havertz is a very good player, but we saw this with his former club, Bayern
Yeah,
Leverkusen.
we did. We did.
He's a system player as well. He's a player who can play multiple positions, but it depends on his partnership. They played him as a second striker for a while, and it wasn't working out with players like Leon Bailey, etc. But I just think
Let's see what happens. What's
if
your
they get a better
prediction?
manager, I think maybe their
It'll be all
manager
right.
can find a system for them. But
Yeah,
back to the game, my prediction is I'm gonna go with a 1-1. I just think it's
1-1.
gonna be. I don't think they have the firepower to create a lot of goals. So
I'm going to go with the Wolves beating Chelsea. I'm going to go 3-1 Wolves. Think about that. That's my extreme result this weekend. The only reason why I say that, Fred, is that one, Chelsea are not on confidence. Two, Lampard doesn't look like he has a clue right now. And I know Lampard you've said he's a good manager, but he doesn't look like he has a clue.
yeah,
Chelsea fans were talking a lot on Twitter about how Arsenal were terrible this season, and now they're only a couple of points difference, which is crazy, isn't it? And I just see Chelsea not picking up results in this game because Wolves. I know Wolves have had a few bad games at late, but I think Wolves will beat them. Wolves, Podence is out. He's a good player, and obviously we know Jimenez is out. But I think that if Thiago Silva or someone like starts against Fabian Silva's going to have a field day. And
yeah,
for me, Chelsea are on the brink, and I think they need to make a change of management pretty soon. If I'm honest, I just last season they looked okay. They got fourth, and they got to the FA Cup final, but they still, they didn't win anything, and it's gone backwards. They've spent 245 million, and they've gone backwards as opposed to forward. So if I was Roman Abramovich, I'd be looking at this and saying, well, hang on a minute. Last season we were fourth. We got to the FA Cup final. But this season, we're about to play Atletico Madrid in the Champions League, which for me, they don't have a chance against Simeone's team because they're looking fantastic at the moment. They're streets ahead anyone in the top 5 leagues at the moment in terms of how they're playing. And they've bought the right signings and stuff, and Felix and Suarez, they look fantastic. So I don't predict them to have a good game there. And I just think Wolves will just have enough firepower. But as you said, if Chelsea start ticking and playing with the players, as you said, the ones that they know that were good, and go back to basics and bench some of those players, then they will start winning those games. So, it depends on their lineup. If they do their usual lineup that they have done in the last few weeks, I see Wolves winning. Okay. But if they don't do their usual lineup, then I see Chelsea winning that game if they play the right players. So it's going to be down to that one. So for me, I'm going Wolves 3-1 for now, just based on the lineup that they probably will use. But if I see a different lineup and a little bit different from Lampard, and Arteta's done that recently when they started to play the youth,
Yeah,
I just see Wolves winning that game at this point in time.
yeah, I agree with you. Well, I went for a 1-1 draw. But I think if Fabio Silva, I said it in the last preview show that when he gets his first goal, well, this is his second goal, but when he gets a goal, I think it's going to be that kind of thing for him where he's just going to go on an amazing run of form. And I think if he continues and picks up some confidence from the last goal he scored, I think he's going to cause Chelsea problems because Thiago Silva, there's this kind of, well, I don't know what you think, but there's this kind of myth that Thiago Silva has been good in the Premier League, but he's not. He's not.
Well, let's see.
But well, I think
he's
going to be a
older, isn't
1-1
he?
game. I think it's going to be a 1-1 game. You've gone for a 3-1 Wolves win, which is very brave. But moving on to the next game, Brighton versus Fulham. I don't know how to predict this game.
Fulham to win.
Well,
for me,
one of the most exciting players in the Premier League right now, and he's been amazing this season. Lookman, after that West Ham penalty miss, it's actually surprising how well he's recovered from that, because that was scary. That's the kind of thing that just can't derail someone's career. All the criticism he got after that game, he's been good. He scored against Manchester United the other day, and to be fair,
he's talented player, Fred.
Yeah, he's
like Geesy's also talented as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a 2-1 Fulham win.
I think Fulham will beat Brighton 1-0. Brighton have got a load of injuries. They've got about 10 injuries. Lallana's out, Welbeck is out, Lamptey might be still out. So they've got a few injuries. Whereas if you look at the Fulham one, they've only got one injury out for Garlo, I believe his name is. But I think Fulham will win that game 1-0. I'm with you on that one. But again, Fred, it's a game that I'm probably not going to look at, just because I just don't think it'll be an interesting game, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I agree with you. I won't be watching that game either. But a game that I certainly know that you and I will be watching, Everton versus Leicester.
Oh, that'd be a cracking game, that will.
That would be an amazing
In fact,
game.
I want to change my mind. That's probably going to be the game of the week. I'm changing my mind on that one.
Yeah.
To be honest.
That's going to be an amazing game.
Who do you think's going to win? I don't know. Leicester,
2-2.
probably.
2-2. I'm going to go 2-2. Yep.
I see Leicester winning that game. I think Leicester looking fantastic again, how they were back when they won the league, and they seem to be really consistent. And Brendan Rodgers is a great manager for me, and they don't have any injuries either, Fred. Whereas Everton, they have Decoy that might be out. Calvert-Lewin's a doubtful. Allen's out. So they've got a few injuries out there as well. So I see Leicester winning that game. But as you said, if they've got, Everton have got Carlo Ancelotti, so he's the tactical genius as well, as you know. So it could be a 2-2 draw. It could be a Leicester win on that one. I'm on the fence with it where it's going to go. But if Leicester play to their strengths, then they should win that game. But because Everton are missing Calvert-Lewin quite a bit. So let's see. I think that'll be an interesting game. I think that will be the game of the week for sure.
Yeah.
Because both teams like to attack. So we're going to have an interesting game on our hands. Or we could have a boring game on our hands. It's one of them, isn't it? But I'll be certainly watching that game for sure. Everton versus Leicester, just because of the fact that they're two teams that are playing. They've played great this season so far. So, and Everton are close to the top four. They've got a couple of games in hand, haven't they? So, it'll be an interesting one. I think it'll be a game for the neutrals for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Although, well, as we said, Everton versus Leicester, I think is going to be the game of the week in terms of entertainment. But when it comes to profile, the biggest game of the week is going to be Spurs versus Liverpool.
Oh, I know.
I think it's going to be a very boring game. I remember the last time Spurs played Liverpool a couple of months ago.
Well, Liverpool can't score at the moment, can they? So I don't know if it's going to be an interesting game
Liverpool
or not.
Can't score. Liverpool can't score. and Spurs are just defending the life out of
Isn't
every
it? Don't you
game.
find it
So
surprising though? And I know I've seen it from fans, but they're waiting for Jota to come back. And Liverpool didn't have that type of player last season, and they were still performing. But they're waiting for Jota, and that just shows you how the front three have been so bad this year.
yeah,
I mean, Salah's been okay because Salah's got
Sadio
enough goals,
Mane,
but Sadio Mane and
Sadio Mane, he's had, I think, only about 6 goals this
yeah,
season, which is
yeah,
terrible
for the type of player he
for
is, for
of his
sure.
quality.
And,
Yeah,
and I just think, and for me, I think Mourinho is going to make it boring anyway. So he'll just sit back and do it on the counter against Liverpool, won't he? So
yeah,
I don't see any of. I think it's to be a draw that game. I think Liverpool are going to struggle again, but they just don't look like they've got confidence right now. And I'm going to put my neck out and say that Liverpool will be lucky to get top four this season, the way they're playing at the moment.
Oh, wait. Wait. Just wait a minute there. Liverpool. It's tough.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna come. I think they're gonna come
No, I
second
don't see top four.
behind either. I think they're gonna come second. Well, that's a very
I don't.
bold
At
prediction
this
again,
moment, though,
but
Fred, I'm saying, but it could change. I'm one of those people that looks on form, so it could change in 5 or 6 games, couldn't it? They could start picking up form, and now say actually
yeah,
maybe they'll be challenging again because
yeah,
Liverpool Klopp will want to come out fighting for sure. So Liverpool could either steamroll Spurs or it'll be a 0-0 draw. I just don't see them scoring many goals against Spurs. Let's see, but I don't even know if I'll have to watch the game just because it's Spurs versus Liverpool and it's two heavyweights, if you want to
yeah,
call it that.
yeah,
But do I want to watch it? Is it going to be great? I don't think it's going to be a great game to watch.
yeah. I agree
And
with you.
I
I
always
don't
get
think.
excited about these games, Freds, because they're big games, and then I come out disappointed because they don't showcase
Yeah, yeah, I get
the
that.
talents. And I'm always disappointed after these games. Always, I'm always bigging them up, thinking, "Oh, it's going to be a good
Yeah,
game," and then I'm just thinking, "Well, that was a load of garbage, wasn't it?" And that's where I
yeah.
feel like it's going to go. So I don't know. I might watch the first 10 minutes and go and shut it off, but we'll see.
Well, Jose Mourinho, as I say in the Discord server all the time, he lets Spurs play well for the first 10 minutes. Then the rest of the game, they just sit
Yeah.
back. So I think it's going to be a boring game. I might not even watch it because I honestly I don't want to see any boring game ever again. Honestly,
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to watch it.
I think it's going to be a
Right,
predictions. I'm
can
going to
you
go
even do a
with
minus 0-0? Is that possible? No, I know.
well, I think it's going to go 1-0. I see a late winner in
Oh,
this
for
game.
either side, yeah.
I think, yeah, I see a late winner
Oh,
in
well,
this
let's
game.
see. That'd be interesting.
Whoever is going to be, I don't know. I can see Mo Salah again a late goal in this game.
Yeah, well, let's see.
Especially because he was rested the other day. Well, he did come on early, but he didn't start the game.
Well, let's see.
I'm going to go with a
I'm watching
1-0 win to either side. I just can't predict
But let's see.
But moving on to the next game, we saved this for last. Manchester United versus Sheffield United.
Mhm.
Going to be an interesting. The last time United faced Sheffield, it was tense in the last
Wasn't
few minutes,
interesting
but
for me. I think Manchester United dominated that.
Yeah, they did. We did dominate that game, but defensively we were poor. So
I
we
think you've picked
conceded
up on
2
your
goals.
defence since then, haven't you?
Yeah, we have. We definitely have. With the likes of Eric Bailly and Harry Maguire, I think they've only conceded 2 goals since that game. 2 or 3 goals since that game, which is an amazing record.
I'm going to
I'm
go
gonna
Manchester United 3-0. Just telling you. Straight out the
I'm
bandwagon.
going to go Manchester United 4-0.
Oh, you're getting confident now, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, see this. Look at that confidence that's coming out on you.
Yeah. I think Anthony Martial, who I'm not his biggest fan.
Oh, no, you're
I
not.
just think him and Marcus Rashford, these are the kind of games that they just absolutely have a field day. So I'm going to go with a 4-0 win, and I'm also going to go. I think a Manchester United player is going to get a hat trick.
Oh God, you're definitely getting confident. Who's going to get the hat trick? Maguire.
Maguire can't even hit. speaking about Maguire, how he doesn't score more goals
Oh,
for
I
headers
don't.
is crazy.
Every time I look at him now, I don't think he's going to score. But Manchester United will win that game, and Sheffield United are missing out with a few injuries, but United are fairly fully fit, to be honest. So apart from Lindelof, but they'll play by Maguire. So it'd be an interesting game. But I think that game finishing off for us would be Manchester United winning it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that brings us to the end of the Premier League preview show. If you enjoyed that, remember to hit a like on the video and subscribe. You can join our amazing Discord server with the link in the description. You can follow us on Twitter for football analysis, transfer news, and many more football related stuff. You
Yeah.
can listen to this. I know some people like to listen to podcasts on Spotify. You can hit the link in the description and it will take you to our Spotify account. And the graphic designer for this video, Riaz, if you are interested in hiring him for any graphics work, his Instagram page is in the description, so you can give him a follow
Yeah,
there.
just to finish off, I'll speak shortly, but next week will be a live transfers on YouTube, so that'll be an interesting one.
Yeah,
But as I said,
yeah,
come and join Discord, like this video, make sure you give us a subscription, and any comments or any suggestions you have, please come into our Discord and come in. And anyone that's listened to this and wants to come on the show and talk as a fan, we're more than happy to listen to you and go through some views. So appreciate today, and I know it's been a fairly shortish one, but it's going to be an interesting weekend. We've got a lot of mixtures of Premier League and FA Cup, so it'll be a fun game for this weekend.
yeah. Going to be an interesting weekend, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Right.